Hey, crypto family. So, the first article I want to talk about today is about an event happening on January 3rd, and one that I think is going to be very important. So, this article here by Crypto Briefing says a Bitcoin group is organizing a run on exchanges, and it's actually called Proof of Keys. So, the Greek Bitcoin advocate Andreas Antonopoulos, which you may have known, he actually has a Twitter account. He's a big Bitcoin advocate, over 462,000 followers, says is famous for coining the phrase, quote, not your keys, not your Bitcoin. Users in possession of their private keys can keep their digital assets secure and, just as importantly, under their control. So again, he's maintaining the fact that you need to have your private keys yourself in order to be sure that your Bitcoin is actually yours versus under an exchange control. And it says, now a new movement wants a sector to remember the what cryptocurrencies are supposed to be all about by carrying out an event described as, quote, the ultimate stress test. If successful, it may pose as solvency risk for some cryptocurrency exchanges. So, if you may remember, a lot of these exchanges have fallen under controversy lately, with a lot of people saying that they don't have, all the Bitcoin or all of the coins that they say they have, and basically they're just inflating their volume, and similar to, a lot of big exchanges that have just been faking their volume and faking the actual amount of cryptocurrencies they have. So basically what they're saying is, okay, on this date on January 3rd, which also is the 10th anniversary of the Bitcoin's Genesis block, they want users to withdraw their cryptocurrencies. So this is kind of similar to the stress test on banks whenever they had that in the past, and basically to make sure that banks are actually holding the funds that they say they have, so in reserve. So they're trying to get this event to happen the same with crypto exchanges. So it says a Bitcoin community group is encouraging investors to temporarily remove all of their assets from any and all third-party services, from centralized exchanges to custodial wallets. So again, this is January 3rd. It's called Proof of Keys, and it's a movement for users to reassert possession over their own holdings, as well as to force third parties to prove that they're actually holding all the assets they claim. So again, I think this is a good way for, everyone to weed out the exchanges that are faking the amount of reserves that they actually have. And again, it'll declutter a lot of that space that we have in different exchanges, and a lot of corruption going on in those different exchanges. So I believe Proof of Keys is definitely going to be a huge deal. And it even talks about the cryptocurrency exchange Mt. Gox, which was once the place where more than 70% of Bitcoin transactions happen, and they lost over $3 billion worth of Bitcoin. Now, that's another thing, to always keep your private keys with you, and, to keep your cryptos off exchanges. But if you do not do that and you have them on exchanges, then making sure that those exchanges are legit and they actually have the reserves that they say they have. So this is definitely going to be something I'm going to keep an eye on. Again, Proof of Keys on January 3rd. And, if this does end up weeding out exchanges, I think it'll be definitely one of the most positive things in crypto, with everyone, finding out, okay, what exchanges are actually scamming people, which ones, are holding the reserves that they say they have, and just kind of, have only the top exchanges and just have more of a positive image on crypto, versus what we've had in the past. So just want to bring that up. And again, it's something to definitely keep an eye on as the date gets closer. Now, the next article I want to talk about is Cointelegraph. It says, a year after 20K, blockchain capital exec says investors will regret not buying in now. So it says, 1 year after Bitcoin broke the crypto industry records to hit $20,000, a partner at venture capital firm Blockchain Capital says that today's bearish market represents, quote, a fantastic buying opportunity. Spencer Bogart made his remarks during an interview on CNBC's Fast Money on December 17th. Now, again, you hear a lot of these people talking on CNBC's Fast Money, and they say, it's a great buying opportunity, but you have to look at the reasons why they're saying that. If they're just blowing smoke, or there's actually some good reasons. So I like some of the reasons they give here. So it says, quote, could Bitcoin go to $50,000? Absolutely. It doesn't have the same kind of price to earnings enterprise value to revenue that normally puts a kind of upper bound or a ceiling on a typical early stage technology company. How long will it take? I'm not sure. So basically what he's talking about here is price to earnings ratio, something that's really very prevalent in stocks, because that's something that people use to measure a company's profitability and how good they're progressing for the future. Now, since Bitcoin doesn't really have this, then it's hard to put a ceiling on, okay, if their price to earnings ratio is X, then their price should be this. So you can't really do that with Bitcoin. So it kind of creates that, really non-ceiling factor. And then it also says here that the Bitcoin market has, quote, almost entirely been driven by retail investors. This has resulted in bull markets going a little too high and controversially, bearish dips too low. So I can see what he's saying because a lot of retail investors are very emotional. So again, they'll buy when the market's pumping and they'll sell when it's dumping. So versus institutional investors, which usually buy when it's low and sell when it's high. So the reason that, there is all that volatility is because you don't have those institutional investors kind of balancing it out. Therefore, it's causing all this volatility and there's a lot more emotional trading going on. So they believe that Bitcoin will eventually average out once those institutional investors start coming into the market. Then they also pointed out increased institutionalization of the asset class. So you have years endowments from Ivy League schools such as Yale and Harvard. And then also you have backed for a digital assets trading platform from Binance Exchange and the establishment of more qualified custodians for crypto assets. And then he says, Bitcoin could go anywhere from $2,000 to even $1,000, but all these prices represent a great buying opportunity. And this is a quote I like right here. He says, when we look back 24 or even 12 months from now, we're going to say, why didn't I buy then? So that's something you can always keep in mind. It's right now, it seems like the prices, are just going to keep going lower, which they could. But again, when you look back, you always wish you could have bought it lower or you could have bought it, at that price. And right now we're at that price where if we would have said the same thing in December, we would have been begging to buy the prices that it's at now. So if anything, if there's a lot of people that are, they're not sure if they should buy right now, then I say you could average in, which is also a good technique and definitely a good strategy where, invest only X amount every week. That way you can get the best of both worlds. So again, not financial advice, just my opinion, but it's definitely something to think about. Then also you have Fundstrat Global Advisors Tom Lee saying that he believes the fair value of Bitcoin is significantly higher at $13,800 to $14,800, considering the number of active wallet addresses, usage per account, and other factors influencing supply. So again, you have all these different factors, and I mean, there's definitely some great arguments here. And, I believe that in the future, we're going to see Bitcoin's price reflect that. And it's hard to see right now because we are in the present, but I believe again, into the future, we will see a lot of these come to fruition. Now, last article we're going to talk about is education and why it's the biggest roadblock in preventing online investors from purchasing cryptocurrency. So they took a lot of surveys in this article, and it says, out of 1,000 people who currently invest online, over 44% cited a lack of good educational resources as a reason they didn't want to invest in cryptocurrency. But out of that, it says 60% of both genders, male and female, are interested in cryptocurrency. So you have a lot of people interested, but a lot not investing because they don't believe there's enough educational resources. Now, myself, when I was learning in cryptos, I just watched a lot of YouTube videos because there's a lot of good YouTube videos out there. You just got to find the right ones. As well as there's a ton of articles out now. There's a lot of different opinions, and you just have to search on Google. Google's your friend. And again, just there are the tools, and I think it's people don't want to put in the work. They just want a book or they just want something that will tell them everything. But the truth is, crypto is still very early in its infancy. And I believe that as we progress, we're going to see a lot more of these educational resources come about. But right now, it's more of that, YouTube, word of mouth, talking to your friends, reading articles on Google. That's really the main source of learning right now. But there are plenty of ways, I believe. But with everything going on, regulatory concerns, people thinking that, there's a lot of scams going on, so they don't want to get in. It's all that fear right now that's causing a lot of investors to not jump in. And I believe that one of the best things we can do is just, help educate people. If you have friends that are wondering, oh, hey, how do I buy Bitcoin? How do I get a wallet? How do I create an account on Exchange? All those different things. I think word of mouth, especially or the holidays, that, when everyone is around the table, talking with them about that and helping them with that. Because there's definitely a lot of resources, but as it's saying right now, it says millennials are significantly more in favor of using financial advisors compared to Gen X boomers. So, a lot of people want to have things done for them, and because they don't think there's enough resources. So just something to keep in mind as why there aren't as many investors. I think as, even schools start teaching about cryptocurrencies, or just as more educational resources are available, then that's when we'll see a lot more investors come into the market as well. So looking at the market today, great day again, even more green than yesterday. Bitcoin's up over 6% to $3,773. XRP's up 9% to 37 cents. Ethereum's up 9% to $103. EOS is up 5.6% to $2.63. And then Stellar is up 8% to 12 cents. And Bitcoin Cash, want to mention, it's up 24% to $114. So that thing coming back from the dead. Now looking at some analysis for Bitcoin. So this is a 4-hour chart here. And I mentioned again that it was holding. Let me actually go over to the 4-hour here. So we did hold, at 3,200, and we actually passed above this 3,600 resistance, which I mentioned is a strong resistance, and it was providing resistance back on December 9th, and then again, towards December 12th and December 17th. So we did break above that, and now the 128-day moving average is acting as support. So along with this 3,600. So I believe now 3,600 is the new support. And then the next resistance we're looking at is around $4,000 level, which also coincides with the 200-day moving average. So right now the RSI is way overbought. Again, could definitely use some more cooling period. Maybe for the next couple of days, we'll have to see. If we do, then we're looking at holding this 3,600 level. If we do break below this, then again, potentially looking at this 50-day moving average of 3,350 and then 3,200 from there. So we'll have to see what happens. And of course, always set your stops and trade accordingly. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. It really helps me out. And also set up post notifications so that you can get notified whenever I release a video. So with that, till next time, thanks for watching.